I always want to be able to calculate the way I'm going to do something. I don't like guessing. So the goal for this lesson is to show how to take the guesswork out of planning a picture. So I want to make something that has a similar color contrast like this. I'm typically not just making up everything from scratch. I have something beautiful I've seen before and an associated pattern. And so uh, most of the time it has to do with some opposites on a color wheel. I probably don't want to use this midtone. I probably just mix this one because I can always add white to it and get it here. So this is just a more white version of this midtone on this cloud. So I always look for the most intense midtone, the most intense highlight, and the most intense shadow. So uh, thinking about how the other objects you're going to need to paint in your picture, and how do your your objects, your emphasis, your focal point, the stuff you're really focused on in your painting, you go to those highlight shadow, but you can forget sometimes to compare that to your lightest option and your darkest option. I'm set up for a nice dramatic painting with lots of depth and lots of room to put intensity because I've got room in both directions. Is there a rule of thumb, Mavis says, for the relationship of the intensity of the highlight to the midtone to the shadow color? Yes, there is a rule of thumb for that relationship. When something's not very translucent and you can't see through it at all, then the color intensity moves toward the highlight. So the intensity could be anywhere in there, but remember, as you jump through the three colors, if you're not changing dramatically in darkness or in lightness, then you don't want to change dramatically in intensity either. Keep them in harmony. Just like my waves here, to make those look like the color is directly related to the lightening effect, I have to be careful not to make it happen so extremely that it doesn't look like it's connected to the lightning. It's like, oh, that's just someone poured some green paint in that wave, and that's all that happened. that's the effect it would be. But because it gets a little more intense as it gets a little lighter, they're just by a general estimate, they're very similar in how much they change. Okay. I'll put a cloud up high. I'll start with my highlight. I love to work from light to dark. So I'm imagining a cloud up in there. It's just like perspective, it's going up. So I'll start from my light edge, and I'm real confident about being able to make a cloud with my three colors that I mixed. No problem. We'll go here. Just a little. That was a lot, not a little. So I'm going to get rid of some of that white. And then we'll get some yellow. Just a little bit right in here, and then adding this to the pre-mixed highlight. No big deal. It makes this nice glow on my cloud right away, and I can continue as planned. That's not going to be of any consequence for my blending and building of the shapes. Okay, I'm turning around. I'm looking. We got a hand up. All right, Mavis, I'm going to see if I can bring you right on the video stream here. How are you?
Hey, good. I got a question on your clouds.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so you talk about you're going to paint something in such a way so that it shows that the light shines through versus what it looks like when the light hits the cloud. I can't even think about what the difference is.
Oh yeah, okay, very good. Well, then that's something worth visiting. So with clouds, it's common to see light shining through them because they're thin, and so uh, when I want to get the effect of light shining through something, I use different color patterns. So you were there at the in-person workshop, Mavis. So do you remember when I was talking about when light shines through things, then it tends to change color in the direction of yellow. Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Yeah, right. So when I am doing these cloud colors, everywhere I want the light to shine through it, I am moving the color. So here I'm putting a highlight on that's yellower than all the other colors. And that causes this to not look like a solid mass that is reflecting the light as much as a big illuminated mass that the light is inside of. So the light, so you know, light might be bouncing off and going through, I mean, all kinds of stuff, but to get that ethereal look of glow that's coming from within an object, I shift that color toward yellow where it's getting brighter. And then that causes it not just to look like it's reflecting. You know, I'll probably get myself in trouble if I get too technical about glow, but what I mean is that the light comes from within instead of just bouncing off of it. So reflection on water would be the exact opposite of what I'm talking about. You know,
Right.
where it doesn't feel like the reflection on the water is coming from under the water at all. You know, it feels like that's bouncing right off of it. And I would say that that's commonly just because we don't see the intensity of color shifting toward yellow and getting that brighter, more intense color like we do in yesterday's video. I showed the turquoise wave rising up out of the water.
Mhm.
So what I want to point out on the cloud that I just painted, and this pertains to Mary's comment yesterday. Looking at this cloud, see how I put the light color on top and it creates a light source and we get kind of a round look to that dark blue. The
Right.
Well, so this kind of goes against the old principle of cool colors going back and warm colors coming forward. I do think that that is a thing that happens where warm colors tend to pop out and the cool colors like blues feel like they go back, but it's not a stronger effect than these patterns. These patterns are the more powerful effect. So what I did was I just added white. I created a more reflective look by adding just white because see how that blue does not appear to get greener. It doesn't feel like it's moving toward yellow. So
Mhm.
we have this monotone lightening it or monotone meaning not a color added. There's no color added to that highlight. It's just lighter and that's all. So that creates a more of a look of reflected light off the surface of the cloud, and I get the three-dimensional look. But if I put my midtone on there instead, when I mix that with the shadow, that is not going to make this dark cloud pop out because it's established in my picture that that is one of the light shadow in between colors. You see how it just sucks it right into the rest of the cloud. I can't highlight this with that color. I can't do that and have it pop out. It's just going to go away and suck back into the cloud. So I need the unrelated white color to make that look like just the surface with light bouncing off and not the deep light coming from within. How's that making sense to you?
It does. It does.
Okay. Okay, now I'll just finish this up by bringing this reflection down, looking at my colors up here, seeing if they're consistent. I've got some mid-tone that comes in right here from this mountain right there. It slopes this way. Then I have blue because of the underwater color. It's going to come up there and meet it. Just real consistent with my horizontal strokes. I've got shadow color up in here, lots of shadow color. Let's put that in. I'm putting pure blue down here to get my deep water color, just a little bit. Just a little bit, you know, I can overstate that pure blue real easy. It just needs a touch of it to be nice, to get that blue mountain lake feel. It just needs a tiny bit. I'm gonna do like Bob Ross. One of my favorite things that I saw on PBS Saturday mornings was the little reflection trick. So I'm gonna grab my midtone color, like we've got some bright sky reflecting here, maybe a little bit of my, yeah, we'll try the midtone color. We'll just see what it looks like. It would be nice to put some kind of an animal in here, a little fish jumping or a bird or something like that. We'll zoom out here. There, okay, thank you very much for watching. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully that doesn't freeze at the last second on me. Man, I like that picture. Zooming out really feels good when you're done with the project. You zoom out, you see it. The system works, you know. Talent is one thing. Having a good working tool is a whole different thing. So I hope that this gives you good tools.